What's up, Fig fam? Welcome back to the Fig Heel YouTube channel. And it is Friday, which means it is time to take a look at all of the wrestling figure news and reveals from this week. But not only that, at the end of the show, we also have an interview with James Dixon, author, about his new book, Titan Shrinking. And this comes from Inside the Ropes magazine. They've done a bunch of these different books, and we're going to talk to him, really unwrap this thing, and talk about some other upcoming projects. But we're going to get right into the wrestling figures right now. We're going to start off with the independent stuff as usual, starting with, this is an exciting one, the Beverly Brothers. There are multiple companies that are making the Beverly Brothers. These are Title Run Toys, 2-pack of the Beverly Brothers. And I got to say, I think they look pretty good. I think that the heads look a little boxy, right? But overall, I like them. I like the capes a lot. The stars, the tassels, the colors. I do think they're very good. I love that the arm is like the more updated, modern clothesline, right? Ironically enough, Epic Toys is doing these in the exact same poses. So I'm curious to see what Epic Toys looks like before I decide on which company I'm going with. Also, KWK, Kayfabe Heroes, showed off their Club Kayfabe. All right. The new exclusives are going to be a Berserker test shot. And I believe there's only 5 of these available. Each comes with a certificate of authenticity. And then coming up on November 1st, you can pre-order the Laredo Kid. Now, if you remember, you can only get this figure if you are part of the Club Kayfabe. So if you are not already a part of the Club Kayfabe, go to shopkwk.com and make sure that you email, or you can simply just DM Sean on Instagram and show interest that you're interested in getting into the Club Kayfabe to have a chance at picking these up. So these items are a little bit higher ticket prices because they're lower quantities. Obviously, there's only 5 of the Berserker. I don't know how many of the Laredo Kid are getting made, but it's not going to be their typical production run. So these are very limited figures. Now, this is cool. From New York Gambit on Instagram, he showed some pictures of Mitch from Hastel Toys New York Comic-Con showing, and he brought some pretty cool stuff. Things that I already saw, such as, the Tom Savini, Return of the Living Dead, but check out this Kimchi. This is a figure I've been wanting for quite some time. I really want this in the big rubber guys, hoping that Major does it, or somebody else. I really, really want that figure, but look how cool this is as a retro. I mean, look at it. He comes with the shield. He comes with Kamala's mask. Those are 2 accessories that you can put with your Hasbro Kamala. Genius. Man Mountain Rock turned out better than expected. A lot of people, myself included, thought that the guitar was going to be a G, and it's pretty much in the shape of the WWF logo, just without the F part. Very, very cool. The shirt is beautifully done. All the different shadings and stuff in there. Very cool. The hairs, I mean, this is probably my favorite one that he showed. Ahmed Johnson, I do think needs work as far as the head is concerned, but the shoulder pads are such a nice touch. I love that he's in the Gorilla Press Slam. We got Sandman here, right? We've got Bastion Booger, which we already saw. We already saw Sarge. We already saw all of these except for the forefront, pretty much, and I think they look great. But there's a closer look at Kimchi. Check that out, man. You can see that the shield clips onto his wrist, which worries me because the clip ones seem to come undone on the grapplers after a while, so I hope that isn't the case. Also curious if that hat is removable, but he does also come with the removable mask for Kamala, which is pretty cool. There is Tom Brady, General Adnan. Here's Man Mountain Rock, which looks absolutely phenomenal, man. I cannot wait for this figure to hit production. Then we have Ahmed there. See what I'm talking about? The head doesn't really look like Ahmed to me. The head looks more like Ezekiel Jackson. Everything else I love, right? Everything else I love. All the pads on the legs, the size of it, the fact that he comes with shoulder pads, and the shoulder pads are very, very similar to that of the Hasbro Legion of Doom, which I love. And I just don't like the head, honestly. There it is without the pads. And as you can see, yeah, the head, something about it. I think it's too wide, too round. I don't know. But I'm really not feeling the head on this one. Hopefully they redo it a little bit. I think just a little tweaking can really fix this one. And then Sandman looks awesome. We already saw the beer colored one, but here he is with his Sandman shirt. And I love that they made this shirt their own and they put the figure on the shirt as a figurehead. I love that. I love that notion. Also, little surprise drop from HastelToy.com. You can pre-order the Godwins that we've been talking about with Hillbilly Jim, the 3-pack. There are 2 Strike Force 2-packs. We got the jacket one, which is the standard release, and then the limited edition with the t-shirts. There is the Comic-Con exclusive Blue Pants Jake the Snake Roberts. There is the Comic-Con quote-unquote exclusive Hustle Man. Again, that's not Mitch. That's the Hustle Man character. And then Dean Douglas with the paddle, which is awesome. All of these look great, but that Dean Douglas, and don't shoot me, that Hustle Man, I need them. I think they look great. So, always doing great stuff over at Hastel Toy. FC Toys now. They showed off an upcoming repaint of their Patriot figure, which looks great. I mean, look at this. Look at the stars and stripes on the pants. I love the silver in the mask. I think this looks very, very good. Very, very good. And FC Toys been doing some great stuff, including today for pre-order on RetroWrestlingFigures.com. You can pre-order the new 3.75-inch figures. I'm talking both Macho Man figures, both Andre the Giants. There's the blue and black strap, the green and the pink trunks Macho. And they're going to be in the Power Packed Wrestlers line. These are available now. You can use code FIGHEEL to save 10% on these. Look at those cardings. I don't know what I was planning on opening these, but then I saw the carding and I love it. I feel like these would go so well with the reaction figures, and I always love how they look carded. So this is really putting me in a conundrum, really, really making me think about how I'm going to collect these, but I will be getting all of these. Macho Man Randy Savage there in the pink. Again, these pieces of art are based off of like the ice cream bar art a little bit, especially Macho Man's. But these look phenomenal. I love the card matches the figure. So many things that make me want to keep these mint on card, but I think I have to open them. Comment below, should I keep these mock or open them? And don't say both, because I am not getting 2 of each. But if you want to only get 1 of each, they will have bundles. So you can get the black strap Andre with the pink trunks Macho, or the blue strap Andre with the green trunks Macho. So pretty cool options there. You can go to figurecollections.com or retrowrestlingfigures.com and use code FIGHEEL to save 10%. Next up, Garage Beer posted this on X and said, somebody asked, like, what is your favorite piece of Garage Beer merch? And they posted this, a little teaser of a 1-of-1 prototype of an upcoming Garage Beer Major Star. Who could it be? Could it possibly be just a generic figure with the Garage Beer logo? Is it somebody that we know? Is it a wrestler? Is it a football player? Is it somebody who works the company? We shall see if we ever find the front of this figure. So very, very cool. But also Major dropped this, the Mike Santana, limited to 500 big rubber guys. I pre-ordered it. Comes with the chains accessory. Got the Born Nasty on there, the one leg up like LL Cool J, all the tattoos. And honestly, the likeness looks incredible in this art. I hope the final piece looks just as good. So a lot of great stuff coming from Major. Very, very exciting. Then my friends over at Boss Fight Studio at New York Comic Con had a couple samples in hand of the upcoming Dralistico, Dragon Lee, and Roosh figures, and they all look incredible. Look at this. I've been saying for a while the Legends of Lucha Libre line is severely underrated. Look at the Roosh with the cloth goods shirt. The mask head is phenomenal with the one eye out. All of these look great. A lot of people say, oh, the scale's been improved. So that's not even an argument anymore. The scale's been improved. Look at the Dralistico. Look at that mask. Look at the hood, how beautifully it sits over the head. I mean, these are so well constructed, and I pray that the Legends of Lucha Libre line continues to thrive, because I want more figures in this style. I love the Legends of Lucha Libre line. So, also, AEW. We saw a little sneak peek of an upcoming Swerve Strickland figure that we did see at San Diego Comic-Con, but Jeremy Padawer had a little boy at his office, who was also involved in the Palisades fires, and they took a picture together, and in the background, if you zoomed in, was this. The Swerve Strickland Shop AEW 1 of 3,000 exclusive with the championship, the hat, the jacket. Very, very cool. So we got to imagine that since there's samples here, these might be coming pretty soon. So keep an eye out for Shop AEW. And then with WWE, we saw these the Explosive Collection Championship Title Slap Band Series 2. We reported on Series 2 a couple months ago, more like 6 months ago, I guess, and about who was going to be in it. And they changed the lineup. These have been hitting Walmarts recently. They're also on Walmart right now, walmart.com. You can go to tinyurl.com/WWE slap. And that'll bring you right to the listing. They're $4.97 each. But let's take a look at who is in this one, or what is in this one. So the super rare this time is going to be the Roman Reigns 16 days undisputed championship. The rare is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And then the standards in this set are the Attitude Era Championship, the Attitude Era Intercontinental Championship, the Undisputed WWE Championship from 2013, the Undisputed WWE Championship, which I thought that was the rare in Series 1. So either way, they re-releasing this one. I'm not a fan of that. The Women's World Championship is nice. The Brahma Bull Championship, and then the $1 Million Championship. I just hate that it has the green on it. But very cool set. They did change a little bit of the lineup. You'll notice initially we were supposed to get the European Championship and the John Cena US title, which I wish we were getting both of those. Instead, we are getting a re-release of the Undisputed WWE Championship and a Women's World Championship. So the first women's title in there. So I'm down with that. Speaking of women's wrestlers, Tiffany Stratton is coming to big shots in the 22-inch, 16-inch, and 7-inch size. Pretty cool. It's Tiffy time. Typical pink, very Barbie-esque. Exactly what we expect when we think of Tiffany Stratton, right? And then from WWE Mattel, we saw this, an upcoming 3-pack, the WrestleMania 3-pack, which I got to assume is going to be a Walmart exclusive like last year's was with John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and The Rock. This one has Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins in his Mummers gear. We got Drew McIntyre over here in his t-shirt, which I love that he has the t-shirt on. Okay, I love that he has the t-shirt on because it has him in front of the CM Punk's WrestleMania moment gravestone, which is very, very cool. But CM Punk has no tattoos, and that kind of destroys the whole allure of this figure for me. Luckily, I love the Seth. Luckily, I love the Drew. And I don't have a CM Punk, so I will be getting this. Plus, it does come with the World Heavyweight Championship, so that is a saving grace of this. But, man, having no tattoos on Punk is brutal. I honestly feel like they could have easily gotten away with painting long sleeves on him, a hoodie. I don't know. Even giving him a t-shirt and a little bit of tattoo deco between the wrist tape and the t-shirt sleeves. I feel like we really could have got more out of this figure than we are. And plus, it's all black with some white deco. Odd choices. Plus, we got the mint chocolate chip and silver stairs there. We've got the barricade, the brown table, which I'm down for. Those are normal colors. And then we got this green, lime green meringue ladder. So I'm not a fan of the different color accessories, but it is what it is, right? Love this set, though. I just wish that Punk was a little bit better. Now, we're going to go over to our interview with James Dixon. So today, I am joined by a special guest, James Dixon of Titan Insider Press. James, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
So James is fresh off of Dave Meltzer's podcast right now, coming on to the Fig Heel YouTube channel, which I think is pretty cool, man. It's a tough act to follow, but speaking of Dave Meltzer, he actually did the foreword for your most recent book, which is called Titan Shrinking. Now, people may not be aware, but this is almost like this is your newest addition to basically a series, right, of books, because you have quite a few different ones with similar, I don't want to say themes, because really not similar themes, but you kind of focus, you zone in on a specific era of wrestling, essentially. And this book covers 1992 WWF during all these scandals, right? Which I'm going to let you talk about, but it's interesting for me because of my age and when I was born, right? I was born in 1988. So 1992 I was young. You know what I mean? I was four turning five. Loved wrestling. I always did. I mean, there's videos of me at 2 years old talking about wrestlers and just like following it. And I knew everything. But something like this is way deeper than what's on the screen, right? The things that were going on in 1992. So this is interesting for me because even though I was alive at this time and I was a fan at this time, I wasn't really absorbing the behind the scenes news. You know what I mean? And at the time, if you were cognizant of what was going on, this was kind of a stressful time for wrestling fans because they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know what this meant for some of their favorite entertainment, some of their favorite wrestlers. So um, I want to talk to you about this book and how you came to the information that you got to put towards this. You know, because what I have read so far, it's not the typical information because you kind of did your own due diligence on this.
I think with a lot of these stories that are in the book and any of the books I've written, they are available out there in some form. You know, you'll get wrestlers on shoot interviews or podcasts or in their own books or in WWE documentaries talking about snippets of these things. And often these stories are, let's say, conflated into different stories, not misremembered or don't make any sense. And so you'll get sort of the internet version of stories that's out there. You know, for example, the Nails and Vince fight is a good one, which is in the book, and that story is being told by every wrestler on the planet. Oh, were you there for when Nails fought Vince? And naturally, every wrestler was there. They were all there for the death of Elvis. They were all there at Woodstock, and they were all there for Nails versus Vince. But they weren't. You know, it's just some of them just weren't there, and sort of sifting through the versions of events to find out the real version of events is the challenge and the fun part of writing these books. And it helps for me that, you know, I've been in wrestling in some capacity for the last 20 plus years. I'm showing my age, but you know, and I've kind of done everything from, you know, booker to wrestler to writer to and everything between, trainer and such. So, you know, I kind of know how it works, which helps because I'm coming at it from a point of, you know, I get why someone would make that decision or as well, you know, in terms of the research for the book, you know, a lot of interviews, you know, specifically for the book. And, you know, I will draw on other resources that are already out there because some of them are good resources and it's about piecing it together logically, making it make sense, making it flow and creating the actual narrative. And I tried to piece them together in a logical way so that, you know, it flows and there's a nice narrative flow to everything and it makes sense to people and like they're in the room, you know, they're the fly on the wall and they're seeing it, you know, through the eyes of the people who are there. It's like they're there watching it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're faced with this, you said this is kind of the fun part, right? When you're faced with somebody who has this account of a situation, and then you have somebody else who it doesn't exactly line up. Like, what is the process you take to kind of like come to the conclusion of, all right, what really did happen here, right? Because this isn't just something that happens in wrestling. You know, we hear that all the time, the whole telegram, telephone, telewrestler thing. But in reality, that's just human nature, right? How many times have you had a conversation with your family recounting like an old story, and then I don't know, your father or your mother or your brother or sister is like, oh, that's not how it happened. It happened this way. And people remember things differently. You know what I mean? So, what is the process you take to kind of like weed out, like, all right, I know this didn't happen. You know?
It's it's a combination of things. Memory is a very tricky thing to rely on, and you know memories fade. And I once asked Jim Cornette something for one of the Titan books, and he started telling me. I was like, I've heard this story, Jim. He's like, well, when did I last tell you it? Because the ending might have changed, you know. And it's like, right, okay, so that's not brilliant. And that happens with the wrestlers. They tell the story so many times the way they want it to be heard that that's what they think happened. And like you say, it's human nature that it happens with all of us, you know. Ideally, as many sources from the time as possible. So, Wrestling Observer is a great source for that because Dave Meltzer would write stuff as it happened, and so would you know. There's a couple of other guys who would, and so you'd piece together that information, but always with the knowledge that it's not necessarily accurate. It's just what the source told them at the time. So you have to bear that in mind. And then I will speak to people who were around who I trust, and I know that they're going to tell me as close to what they can remember as possible. And then between that and books, documentaries, podcasts, shoot interviews, etc., you can kind of start building up this picture. And there'll be some pieces of it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and some pieces you're like, this isn't even from this jigsaw, so you got
Yeah.
to throw it away. And others you go, well, this is a nice picture they've painted, but it didn't happen because they're full of it, right? So
Yeah.
you throw it away as well. And eventually, and then with a little bit of sort of knowledge of how things work as well, and sort of what and knowing the characters and the players involved and how they tend to do things and like how Vince tends to react to things, how whoever reacts to things, you start being able to piece that together and go, actually, right, there's logic to this. So, for example, a good example from the book is Sid getting fired or leaving in '92. Now, there was always the story on the internet that Sid failed a drugs test on the European tour and then he got fired.
Yep.
That is not what happened. That's not what happened at all. What actually happened was Sid told Vince he was leaving at the Royal Rumble in '92, which people probably would be quite surprised to learn. But Sid was in the middle. He was caught in the middle of this conflict between Hogan and Vince, and because Sid was obviously working with Hogan at WrestleMania, and they'd fallen out because of Arsenio Hall and the scandal and various other things, and it was a fractious relationship between Vince and Hogan. And the way Hogan was booked at Rumble '92, where he was kind of made to look like a heel, Vince was, Hogan wasn't pleased about that at all and had a little bit of let's say, an episode backstage at Royal Rumble. Sid saw all this and he's just like, you know what? This isn't worth it for me. I've come in here. I'm making less money than I was in WCW. I'm not happy. I don't want to be involved in any of this, and I just want to go and play softball, right? So he's like, Vince, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm leaving. And Vince is like, no, pal, don't leave. You're going to be headlining WrestleMania, and then we've got the European tour, and so Sid's like, okay, I'll stay. And then a week before WrestleMania, Sid he doesn't fail the drugs test, but he gets Harvey Whippleman to give a clean sample for him, and he gets caught, and that's a fail, right? If you try and cheat it, it's failing. And Vince sort of calls me in his office and says, "Look, I could fire you, I could suspend you, I could cost your big WrestleMania payoff, but I'm not going to do that. But I want you to stay a little bit longer." After I want you to just stick with me after WrestleMania, after the European tour, just trust me, sort of thing. So Sid kind of not wanting to give up his big payoff has no choice. So he does the match with Hogan, and then he does the European tour and the house shows, and he's trying to plan a match with Warrior, and Warrior doesn't like the heavens and doing this and becoming, oh, this does not work for the Ultimate Warrior. Like the gods say this doesn't work. And Sid's like, what the hell is this? Like this guy for real, he turns to one of the agents like, is this for real? Or, and the agent's like, yeah, that's just how he is, and Sid's like, okay. And so he wasn't thrilled. And then Warrior didn't want to, oh, Sid, sorry, didn't want to do a finish post match where he would powerbomb Warrior. Warrior would no sell it, shake the ropes, chase Sid away. He's like, you're killing my finish. I'm supposed to be this big top guy. Vince says I'm going to be this big top guy. You killed my finish. So it was a double shot. They had a matinee, I think it was in Baltimore, and then a show in Boston on the night. And he did it in Baltimore, but he said, look, if you try this again tonight in Boston, I'm leaving. You can tell Vince I'm leaving. I'm doing it again. So he gets to Boston, and the agent's like, Vince says you got to do it. And he says, okay. He does it. Then he walks out the building. At which point Vince goes, remember that time you failed that drug test? Now he is suspended. And then eventually, like 3-4 months later, he lets him go. And so that's the real version, but the version out there is completely different and very
Yeah.
confused. So that's the game. And it is fun. It's hard. It can be hard sometimes to go, man, sometimes you've just got to pick a lane and go, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure it's this. I can never be 100% sure because I wasn't there, but I'm 99% sure it's this. So, and it makes the most sense. And again, logic dictates. So let's go with it.
And see something like that, you can totally just by getting that story, you can kind of tell, okay, so now I see what the real story is, and I can see how it got turned into this little myth that kind of like
Right.
traveled around, the wrestling space. But also with those things, I got to imagine it's also tough because some of these guys, they love keeping it kayfabe, right? And they're entertainers, they're showmen. Like part of it kind of is like even when I'm not working, I'm working, right? Like so there
Yeah.
is there's a lot of workaround, but when you're dealing with these guys and interviewing these guys, you start to learn, start to pick up on little things like, okay, I know I know what I can take from this that's kind of real, what maybe I should leave out, things like that. So from what I read so far, it is very, very well written. All right. Titan Shrinking is available now at InsideTheRopesMagazine.com, as well as the other Titan books in the series.
And
But
Amazon.
that's
And
and
Amazon
Amazon.
worldwide. Yeah.
Amazon as well. Titan Shrinking. I will be posting the links in this video as well as on my social media and such. But it doesn't stop there for James because they're also working on something else, and that is the Micro Titans wrestling game. Now, do you want to talk a little bit about this? Those of you that are
Sure.
seeing this graphic that I'm going to put up on the screen, you might recognize kind of the quote unquote form factor of these wrestling figures that are kind of used as the characters in this game. They're very similar to Matt Maniacs, and that's because they're designed by the same designer of the Matt Maniacs figures from the line.
Right.
So I love them. And my understanding is it's not just your own characters. There's going to be some previous WWF legends and such like that are included in the game as well. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, man. So the games thing, it's been in the works for since COVID, actually. Like a friend, one of my oldest friends, just came to me one day and said, I think we should make a board game. I was like, okay, that's new. That's different. And I was like, tell me more. And it was, at the time, it was a little card and dice game. And it was called Micro Titans because it was going to be so small, like mobile phone size, the box that could fit it in your pocket and take it with you anywhere and bust it out and play it on the train or on, at wrestling shows or whatever. And the cost of producing that was so prohibitive that it wasn't worth it. And we're like, you know what, maybe this just isn't. And it was a shame because it was really good fun. It was like, well, maybe it's just not to be. And then a friend of ours, who I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know, Joe Hendry, actually, said, look, this should be a mobile game or a video game. I'm like, interesting. So it happens that my friend who I'm making the game with is an AI programmer and has worked in video games for 20 years. So he said, look, I think we can do it. Okay, let's do it. And what it's now become is a roguelike deck building game. So if you I always get in trouble for saying this, but if anyone's ever played Balatro, imagine wrestling Balatro, and you're pretty close. With lots of sprinkles of other things. It's very different, obviously, but it's and we were like, well, aesthetic wise, what do we love? And it's old Hasbro style figures. It's like let's just put Hasbro figures in it. Like let's
Yeah.
be a character or buy a character or whatever. It's like you're collecting figures and then you get to see them and these cool looking things and that's sort of how it's started to come about. And we worked with we've actually, oh, this is an exclusive for you. We are actually now officially partnering up with Matt Maniacs. There's going to be a lot of back and forth between us. If if a lot of announcements over the coming weeks and months about guys who will be in the game, and the whole point is it's the golden era, right? It's Hulkamania through very, very early new generation and guys from that kind of era. Because how many games have those guys in them anymore? And I think it's important to say it's not a wrestling fighting game. It's not like a simulation. It's not 2K. It's nothing. It's nothing like that at all. It is a deck building game, and it's it's great fun. It's very addictive. It's painfully vicious at times. You know, I knew we were onto a winner when I was playing a very, very early demo and, like threw my mouse down and stormed off. So, and I know how to do it. Like I'll create the things.
Yeah.
It's coming out in there'll be a free demo available for everybody in February time. Because the whole point is we want this to be a community thing. We want people to play the demo, for free, have fun with it, and say to us, look, we love this, we hate this, we want this, and we'll give them it as you know, if we feel it's right. And we want it to be a thing where people, you know, give us their feedback, and in real time we'll react to that and make it this thing where it's this fun game that everyone can just enjoy and play. And aesthetically it's very much driven by nostalgia, of course. And you know, it is available now on Steam to wishlist, but yeah, it'll be a while before it's out. July next year before it's officially out.
Nice, nice. So February that demo will be dropping, and we will be doing the posting the QR code for you guys to put this on your wish list and everything like that. And I'm just reading this right now. A couple of the characters, the original characters, I should say, that you have in the game already are Mike Titan, Painmaster, Neon, Landslide, Loco Herrero, Brash, Explosivo. Is that Thugs? I think there's like a
Bugs, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, they look great. They really do. They legitimately look like enhancement talent for if you were to make these into figures for Matt Maniacs, I could see these looking beautiful on the shelf. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh yeah.
colors are there, which I'm gonna post. I'm gonna put that in the video so you guys can see. I mean, I like Brash. He's got this pink mohawk and beard. It's like it's so money. It's so 80s, right? It's very very cool. So
The kind of
Micro
like I would say, you know, some hybrid between Bebop and Rocksteady from the Turtles and the Nasty Boys, right? So
1000%. That's the best way that you could describe these guys. But you guys, what you'll already see them because I'm gonna have them up on the screen. But yeah, so Micro Titans Wrestling. Um, Listen, I am not a video game guy, right? I'm a button masher. So something like this is right up my alley as far as being a deck building game because I'm a collector, right? I'm not a gamer, I'm a
brilliant.
collector. So this
Right.
would align with my likes, right? Everything that I'm into. So a lot of cool
And
stuff,
hopefully that
man.
applies across the board. That's kind of the point, you know, it's we're looking to sort of figure collectors to be like, man, this looks great, but card collectors as well, because every character will have their own unique sort of move cards with unique, you know, cartoon style, so 80 cartoon style animations on them and things like that. So it's, you know, it's kind of trying to pull on all those different nostalgic heartstrings, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you this, the poster pulled on mine because one of my favorite posters for any pay-per-view was those back alley WWF Royal Rumble posters, and that's definitely the inspiration I would say for this
Yeah, oh,
poster.
it is. Yeah, I mean, we're not ashamed to say that we've lifted inspiration from things that we loved as kids. You know, it
Yeah.
absolutely, and it's because it's such a fun era, and that's the whole point of the characters that, you know, the unique characters to Micro Titans is we wanted them to be reminiscent of what you would see like in the WWF or WCW in the late 80s and early 90s, and you know, big brash colorful proper characters, you know, gimmicks, you know, proper gimmicks, and just fun and big and bold and like
It, it it's beautiful, man. It looks very very cool. And the coolest thing about this to me is that both your products that you have right here, they don't look like the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you'll see brands that are putting out products and they look the exact same.
right.
Micro Titans Wrestling and Titan Shrinking, they look like two different products, as they should, right? But
Very
that's
much yeah.
but that's not always what happens when a company puts out things. So I think you guys are
Right.
doing some great stuff. So
Thank you, man.
Titan Shrinking available now at Inside the Ropes magazine. And as we said, Micro Titans Wrestling is available for your wish list on Steam, and that'll be having a demo in February and then the full game dropping in July.
Yep.
James, before we get out of here, is there anything else that you would like to say to everybody?
No, man, it's been a pleasure to be on here. I mean, I hope people, you know, do follow the game and follow its progress and get involved, you know, because I think it's great to build things together as a community, and the wrestling community is a very good one when it comes together and for something. And you know, play the game. Tell us what you think about it when it comes out in the demo in February, and obviously read Titan. And if you all like it enough, I'll keep doing them. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, James, I got to thank you so much for coming on the show and really talking with us and allowing us to help get this product out to the masses because I really do think that you guys are doing some great things, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing videos of you being very, very upset when you lose like within a couple of matches of finishing the game and have to start all over again.
Absolutely. And I just want to throw this out there. Um, as I said, the Titan shrinking is available at InsideTheRopesMagazine.com. But also, guys, one of my favorite things growing up, right, wasn't just wrestling figures, wasn't just watching wrestling, but it was reading a wrestling magazine. And let me tell you something. Here in the States, that's almost like a lost art. Okay. But over at InsideTheRopesMagazine.com, they're carrying on the legacy of wrestling magazines, and it's a wonderful publication that you guys are doing. It really is.
Thanks, man. I mean,
Yeah,
we're 6 years in now. You know, we launched during the pandemic, which was a terrible, terrible time to launch a magazine,
yeah.
but it's still here. It is available in some stores in the US. We've actually just increased the amount of stores it's available into a couple of hundred now over there. So you made it in the stores, but
Yeah.
same in the UK, and obviously you can buy it on the website worldwide. So yeah, we're trying to keep it alive. I know it's a lost art, unfortunately, and there used to be hundreds, and now there's just a couple of us, but we're trying.
It gives me a warm fuzzy feeling. I'll tell you that. And I just before we go, I gotta say, man, issue 60, the Hulk Hogan tribute cover is a beautiful cover.
Thank you,
That
man.
headshot of Hogan, which I have never seen that picture before in my life.
Really, right.
Beautifully done. Limited
Thank
text on the cover. It was such a classy cover. So
Yeah, well, one more needed to be said, you know.
yeah, yeah. All
Absolutely.
right. So Titan Shrinking available at InsideTheRoseMagazine.com, and we'll see you on the next one. So James, thank you for joining us,
Thank you,
guys.
man. Been a
Take it
pleasure.
easy. We'll see you next time. Are you a wrestling figure collector of WWE Mattel, AEW Jazzwares, and everything in between? Then you need Fig Heel's Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, the modern edition covering all releases from 2010 to present day. Featuring over 7,000 photos of action figures from the hottest brands, including independent toy makers. Keep track of what you have, want, and need, including loose, mock, and overall collection value. With figure photography by Matthew Goldberg, the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia is a must-have for collectors. Full-color paperback and hardcover editions available now at heelbooks.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at FigHeel. Pick up my book series on Amazon and my merchandise on ProWrestlingTees.com/FigHeel. Join my official sponsor, Whatnot, at WhatHealed.com and receive $15 off your first purchase.